The upcoming BR changes on April 2024 just got updated. Let's take a look. Hello guys, once again it's Matt. Thank you all the members, all the Patreons. Make sure to subscribe. So before we get into the actual BR changes that they did, they just posted a little note explaining some of the changes that they are doing. So for example, they are saying that the 2S38, known to be kind of in a lower BR than it should be because of the efficiency that it has. They're basically saying that the performance indicators say that it does correspond to the average value of its rank without being too low or too high, right? But it has a problem of significant empty areas behind the turret and hull, being that making the tank really hard to kill sometimes. But they say that they are going to receive the tank itself will receive additional internal details along with other tanks as well that will improve that situation. So the 2S38 is not getting a higher BR, but it is getting a more detailed situation there. The actual BR changes that I'm going to talk in a bit, but they also mention how the HSTVL, they're considering doing some changes to it, maybe BR changes, maybe changes to the ammunition packages or anything like that. So we're gonna have to wait, but they are planning to maybe try some different things with it, maybe lowering the BR or getting a higher BR but with new ammunition or something like that. Also information about increasing the max battle rating for ground vehicles. They are planning to add additional decompression to the top ranks of tanks, but they are waiting for the introduction in the next major update, if I'm not mistaken, relating the battle ratings for different modes. So for example, there are aircraft that need to have a different BR if it's a ground battle or air battle, and they are going to wait for this to happen to additionally add more decompression for ground vehicles, which I think it's understandable. It's kind of weird, but it's understandable, I think, and at least they are talking about it, right? So they are going to do it. For aircraft, we're going to talk about the actual BR changes, but they are indeed changing. For example, the Spitfire Mark 24 is not going to see the MiG-15s and F-86 anymore with the new changes, but in general, they will get the Korean War vehicles to a lower BR so they then don't basically face all of the more advanced aircraft like the F-404s all the time, right? Etc. Right? So it's going to help a little bit the MiG and the F-86 or Korean War aircraft, and yeah, it's a desperate need of a change. There's an interesting thing here. According to them, the Barak 2 will receive changes to the missile research modification branch of it. I don't know if this means new missiles. So I might do a whole video talking about it, but I don't know. I'm still gonna wait a little bit. But in a general sense, they are going to change a little bit on the Barak in the next major, apparently, or in the soonish future, right? And yeah, as I said, the objective is to lower the BRs of the Korean War vehicles to help them out because they are facing too many IR missiles. They are facing too many more advanced Mach 1 plus aircraft, right? So this is a good change, although it kind of compresses a little bit to the lower ranks like the F-84's levels of performance of jets, right? So let's take a look on the actual planned BR changes. So let's get to the actual changes. So the Panzer II-C is going to 1.3 in arcade. They actually removed the BR change to the Super Hellcat while getting the R3 T20, right? And the AMX-10P to 6.0. So the Super Hellcat will not go to 6.7, while those two will go to 6.0. The Roycat Mark 1D is going to 8.7, which is pretty interesting. And the VIC-40 is going to 7.7, but with its HEVT being removed. This kind of makes sense because in that tech tree you already have other AA systems that are in 8.7, so it kind of makes sense to spread them around a little bit, but it is kind of sad that it is losing the HEVT, which is one of the major advantages of an AA system like that, right? This is the variable timing fuse, right, of course. Then they changed the Strela 10M to 10.3, which is pretty cool. And the Object 292 finally going to 10.3. Of course, that gun is amazing, so it makes a lot of sense. The Challenger DS, which is the Desert Storm Mark III Challenger, premium one is getting the L26, also going to 10.3. This makes sense because now it is actually on par with the Tech 3 one, which makes sense since this Desert Storm one would be one of the latest models of the Mark III, but still, it makes a lot of sense. And the Type 81C going to 11.3. So these are the changes to the tanks. For aircraft, the A20G30 for the USSR and the Yak-9U are not going to be changed in BR, in arcade. The Spitfire Mark 24, as I said before, is going to remain at 6.7 instead of 7.0, so that it doesn't face the MiG-15s of the world. So it really does help a lot, I think, in my opinion, especially with the 15 and the F-86 going to 8.0. So finally, the Spitfire Mark 24 got what it deserved, right? If those aircraft are going to go to a lower BR. The Q5A is going to not be changed, so kind of makes sense. 9.3 is kind of high for that aircraft, but still. The G91Y and YS are going to have a lower BR, so the Y going to 9.3 and the YS to 9. The Y for 9.0 and the YS for 9.3. And then the AMX, they removed the change as well, so it's not going to have a higher BR. And then the F5E FCU, the Thai F5E, you know, is going to 11.0 instead of remaining at 11.3. The funny part is that the only two aircraft that it's not going to be facing, it's the F-15s and then the Mirage 2000, so 5F, right? So it doesn't really change anything. To be honest, you will still fight MiG-29s, you will still fight F-16s, but at least he's not going to be facing 4th generations with AIM-9Ms and R-78 or MiG, like Magic 2s, right? I mean, Magic 2s, yes, but not, at least the AIM-9M, not. And then they removed the Lazur, the MiG-21 Lazur, as receiving the R-60M without researching any modifications, obviously because it is a premium aircraft. And then the RN Gabbiano was the last vehicle that we're going to talk about, going to 3.7 instead of 3.3 that it had before. This is a ship, obviously. So yeah, guys, these are the changes that they are doing for the BRs. I think the majority of them are pretty good, you know. There are still stuff here and there that always can be better. But at the end of the day, at least they are changing for the better, you know. I think it's a good change, to be honest. And of course, I think the major thing that we have to take from this is that they are indeed going to remove the BR compression a little bit, probably in the next major update for ground forces, which is probably the best news that we had during this BR change, right? It definitely is needed. So anyway, as I said, let me know in the comments what you think. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe and bye.